and then we'll talk college football. So, last week we only had one group to play, but now we've had all the groups play, and now we know who's going to the next round, I believe,
For the most part, not
for the most
all.
part.
Yeah, because
Okay.
the group stage games end on Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So let's look at the groups then and where everybody stands.
yep.
I'm gonna
So
make this a
Netherlands
little
and
bigger.
Senegal, they moving on. England and U.S. they moving
Mm-hmm.
on. Argentina and Poland moving on, which was actually kind of interesting because their game today, Mexico won, and they missed out moving to the round of 16 because of differential. Because
I'm
Poland
about
and
to
them
say
actually
because yeah, they
they
beat
have the
Saudi
same
Arabia,
points.
didn't they?
Yep, but they gave up a goal, so I believe that
Mm,
point differential is what killed them, and why Poland went ahead of them and moved to the round of 16. So it was
okay.
very interesting, yeah. And then France and Australia, obviously, they're moving forward.
Okay.
And let's see.
Group E.
Now, this one gets interesting because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Spain and Japan play tomorrow.
Okay.
So if somehow, let's say, if they draw, it makes it interesting, or if one wins, it makes it interesting because as you can see, Costa Rica also has 3 points.
Yeah, I was
So
looking at that.
yeah, so depending on how that game works out, Costa Rica can finish with the most points in the group, or they can miss out on differential. So there's a whole lot that's going to happen in that game tomorrow because they play who this coast? No, actually, I'm sorry. Yeah. Hold on. Costa Rica plays Germany.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, they play Germany tomorrow at 2. So it's going to be real interesting. And as you can see, Germany has 1 point, which is probably one of the biggest surprises of the tournament thus far. So
See,
one
I was
point.
talking about Germany, and you
Yep.
was like, "Oh man, they suck this year or
Yeah,
whatever."
I
I
told
was
you.
like, "All right."
Because it's
I'm
just
just
it
that's
just
just a team I'm just used to hearing about.
well,
So
but literally what you said is 100% how it goes though. A lot of times it's countries that you're just used to hearing in the World Cup. You kind of go
hmm
with that, but this year Germany just wasn't it, and as you can see, it's reflecting right now because they're done. I mean, they're
yeah,
they're they're done
Wow.
in the game. So, um, and then I think the only way that I guess the only way they could potentially have a chance is if they literally blitz Costa Rica, and obviously
Yeah, that's
Costa
what I
Rica
was
and
gonna
Japan
ask.
lose. So technically, they're not all the way out. They just would need a heck of a performance tomorrow, and then Japan would have to lose as well.
okay.
So, yep.
So you're saying
So,
it's
So
not
they would have to
likely.
outscore them, and they would have to win,
yeah, like, and they would have to, because that
and
goal
Japan would
differential
have to
that you
lose.
see,
They'd have to
Yeah,
score a lot.
yeah, they would have to
Yeah.
score a lot because they have to have a greater goal differential because,
and hopefully, and
um,
hope for Japan to get shut out.
Right.
right, right. Now, I'll say this if they both lose, technically speaking, they're going to have 4 points, so they'll move forward in anyway if they have that. But if Japan ties or something like that, that's where it kind of gets tricky and it comes down to the goal differential and stuff like that. So it's gonna be interesting because you have some meaningful games tomorrow. So
Okay.
Group F, as you can see, that's another closer group with Croatia, Morocco, and Belgium. So you're gonna the only team really that's out of it obviously is Canada, which is disappointing because I actually was
Yeah, I
rooting for
heard they were
Canada.
like, yeah, you were saying that they was one of those sleeper teams.
Yeah, they were, and they had some good outings, man. They got some good young talent. One of the youngest teams at the tournament, but unfortunately, just weren't able to put it together. And then
Hmm. Sleeper
Brazil
with
did.
the sleep.
Yeah, well, honestly, if you watched any of their games, man, it was just disappointing, especially the last game because they scored early in the match. I can't remember, but it might have been like 5 minutes into the match, and then they were shut out the rest of the match and ended up losing. So
Wow.
it was disappointing, but they're a young team, so we'll kind of see how that goes. Brazil's automatically going forward, so chances are on Friday they won't play most of their starters at all. Um, and then we'll have to see how Switzerland, how that plays out with them, and then Portugal's already into the next round. You kind of got to see what happens with Ghana at that point, because Ghana they play Uruguay. So technically speaking, both Group G and H are still open,
Mm,
depending on how the win loss or draws happen and the goal differentials and all that stuff. So you still got some stuff to look forward to these next 2 days in the group stage that are going to be interesting.
So tell me this: is USA locked in the next round?
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
they're in the round of 16. They won 1-0,
Was Iran,
which
right?
was
Saw that.
huge.
Yeah, they beat
Yep.
Iran.
Yep. So, and you're pronouncing the country wrong. I don't know if y'all saw the interview. I think I sent that to you. Adams, who's the captain for the U.S. midfielder, um, he got blitzed by Iranian journalist on
Oh, it was
pronouncing the
Iran.
name of the country wrong. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's actually my
So
fault because I didn't know that.
yeah, see, but like I actually made this comment. I said I didn't. So it's just out of my own ignorance. I just didn't know the proper way to say it, but the way he came at him in the interview was so disrespectful in my opinion. And then he followed it up with the question of saying, "How do you feel essentially about playing for a country with so much essentially racism?"
Wow.
So yeah, like it was, dude handled it great though the question, but I just was like, yeah, that journalist, he's a sucker for that. So like you really came at him sideways on those questions.
So how
So
is it pronounced? Iran?
no, it's how'd you say it?
Iran.
Iran?
Oh yeah,
Is
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah. You
Iran?
are actually,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
you're
Iran.
okay.
right.
So the I is pronounced like the
On their
E.
end,
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Iran. We
it's
say
Iran.
Iran.
yeah.
You can. Yeah. I can see that.
Yes. Now
Okay.
Tomato,
I'm a
tomato.
I don't know how much people have been able to see, but more so even for the audience, if anybody watches the World Cup as much as I do at least, I will say this one thing that I cannot stand, and it's not just when the World Cup comes, but they've been doing it since then. The media is such a joke, like, and I mean that like about a lot of things, but I hate it because Christian Pulisic is their poster boy here in
Yeah.
America.
He's Captain America.
Yeah,
That's his nickname.
like they are picturing like they're painting him as like this hero because he scored the goal. But I'm gonna tell you this now: in their matches, he has not been the best player on Team USA. But I hate that they're not even recognizing some of the other players on. I have yet to hear people on TV actually give recognition and credit to the guys who are really responsible for the U.S. moving forward. Christian has played well at times, but even in this last match against Iran, he did not play very well. He made a play where he made a good run, sacrificed his body, and scored.
Yeah, I seen the play.
But it wasn't. I'll say this: it wasn't one of those where you say, "Oh man, that was just magic" or anything like that.
Right.
More impressive has been on their outside back. They got his name is Dest, Dest. Him and then Robinson's on the left hand side. Those guys have really been driving the attack because the U.S. in the round of 16, they probably are going to end up having, if not the worst, one of the worst attacking teams left in the tournament because their offense has been pretty bad. They don't score. They don't score high enough or enough that I think where right now people are saying, oh, kind of giving them a participation award for making it out the group and not really
Hmm.
giving them a chance because they play the Netherlands on Saturday morning at 10. I'll say this. I think it's one, they need to stop with the media nonsense, first off. Because their midfield of
But
McKinney, Adams, and Musa, who Musa just turned 20 like 2 days ago. He's a 19-year-old kid. He's a stud. Kid's a stud. That midfield is the reason why the U.S. is able to move forward because that midfield has been playing fantastic. So,
but I also think, going back to Christian, is because he played overseas. He did fairly well overseas. Like they were just he was one of the few young talents to be spoke about in soccer as far as the US. As far as popularity wise and potential wise in a long time, you ain't really heard about nobody. So I just think just that hype has been following him and now that the World Cup is around, it's like US is normally dominant in a lot of other sports, especially to the world. I think with us always falling short
yeah.
on this
Yeah.
stage, that now that we got somebody who's recognizable internationally as a halfway decent player, he young, it ain't somebody that you know that migrated here, nothing. It's like
Yeah.
American born. It was just like that. I think they're trying to find something to rally behind.
charge on its last light. Same clothes I'm from last night. Still lit like it's last night. Young living in the fast life. Young. Smoke cloud from the ash pipe. Catch air from the half pipe. I need a centerfold from the shows with the mansion. Chandelier dancing. Counting a Branton. Yeah. Been had hella Franks when it's ballpark figures. Might be in the field, but I came from the trenches. You can tell it's my time, look at better swing. I do like the charm on my wrist, let me glitch. Want me pay the way, I'm the wave, I'm authentic. Sitting courtside, got a sprain, nigga. I bring the gang for the gang. Nothing but a thing when I sing. Young Usain, I sprinting, getting fresh prints. Counting a blessing on blessing on blessing. They call me the reverend, y'all nigga play too much.